you. So thanks for sending over that podcast script focusing on slang and informal English.
Yeah, it was really interesting stuff.
Totally. We dove right in, and well, for this deep dive, we're going to try and unpack it all for you. Basically, our mission here is to make slang, less confusing. So you can understand it, sure, but also feel like comfortable using it yourself.
Right, make your English sound more natural.
Exactly, and help you kind of avoid those awkward moments, maybe. We're basically pulling out the really useful bits from that script you shared, giving you a bit of a shortcut to getting to grips with this, lively part of English.
Absolutely. And what's really interesting when you look at informal language is just how deep it runs in our daily chats. This script you gave us, it's a great framework for understanding not just like single slang words, but the whole picture of how or why we use them.
Okay, so let's get started. According to the source, slang is, basically those casual words and phrases we use when we're just, hanging out, talking informally.
Definitely not for like a formal presentation.
No way. But it pops up everywhere else. And one key thing about slang, it's always changing.
Oh, constantly.
The script gave a perfect example. Lit. It's huge now for saying something's amazing, right?
Totally.
Whereas groovy, which was super cool back in the day, well, using it now might get you some funny looks.
Huh. Yeah, it really shows how slang is tied to specific times, specific groups. Language itself is always evolving, isn't it?
Yeah.
It kind of mirrors what's happening in culture, society. Today's cool slang could be tomorrow's, groovy.
So you might be thinking, why even bother with slang? Well, the source makes a pretty good case, actually. For one, it can make your English sound way more natural, more fluent.
Definitely helps you blend in, sound less like a textbook.
Right. And if you want to connect with native speakers, understanding and maybe using a bit of slang can really, help you click. Plus, let's be real, so much entertainment jokes, memes, pop culture stuff, it's loaded with informal language.
That's a great point. It's about cultural literacy, too, isn't it? Not just words, but understanding the vibe, the nuances within a group or generation.
Exactly. But, and this is a really important but, the source stressed you got to be careful.
Oh, absolutely. Context is everything.
Dropping the latest slang term in a job interview? Probably not the best move. Might not get you the job.
Probably not.
Knowing the context is just crucial. Otherwise, you risk sounding unprofessional or just plain weird.
Precisely. It's about code switching, basically. Being able to shift your language style depending on who you're talking to, where you are. Think of slang as like another tool in your communication kit.
Good analogy.
But like any tool, you need to know when to use it and when not to use it.
All right, let's dig into some specifics then, some actual slang words. The source grouped them by theme, which I think is pretty smart, makes it easier to follow.
Yeah, that helps.
First up, slang for expressing emotions. We mentioned lit. Means amazing, exciting, super fun. Like, that party was lit. You just feel the energy, right?
Yeah, it's so evocative. It's interesting how a simple word gets repurposed like that to mean something so vibrant.
Then there's hyped. Means really excited. I'm hyped for the concert this weekend. You can almost feel the buzz.
It definitely captures that eager anticipation. You're way more likely to hear, I'm hyped, than say, I am extremely excited about the upcoming event.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, next. Salty? This one's interesting. It means like upset or bitter about something. So if someone says he's salty because he lost the game, you kind of get the picture. They're still annoyed about it.
The image of salty is pretty strong, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like that lingering bad taste. It really captures feeling hard done by, maybe a bit resentful.
Yeah, it does. Then we have chill. Pretty common, means relaxed, easygoing. She's super chill, never gets angry. Just paints a picture of someone laid back.
It speaks to that value of staying calm, not getting worked up. It's seen as a positive trait, being chill.
Totally. And last in this emotion batch, ghosted. Ouch.
Yeah, not fun.
This is when someone just vanishes, stops replying to messages, cuts contact, no explanation. I thought we were friends, but he ghosted me. Pretty common these days, unfortunately.
The word itself, ghosted, really captures that sudden disappearance, the lack of closure. It's quite a modern phenomenon tied to digital communication. What strikes you about these emotion words?
I think it's how efficient they are. Like, one word packs a punch, gets the feeling across instantly. You don't need a whole sentence.
That's true. Very concise.
Okay, moving on. Slang for agreeing or disagreeing. We've got for real, shows surprise, or you're asking for confirmation. She got a new car. For real. Like, you need to double check.
Yeah, and the way someone says it matters too, right? The intonation can show real shock or maybe a bit of skepticism.
Good point. Then there's no cap. Means I'm telling the truth, no lie. That movie was amazing, no cap. It's like you're underlining your sincerity.
Right, removing any doubt, like a verbal stamp of authenticity. Trust me on this.
And facts. Super simple, just means I agree. Studying every day really helps. Facts. It's like saying, yep, that's absolutely true.
Very direct, very emphatic.
Yeah.
Often used when something feels like undeniable.
Bet is an interesting one. It means okay or I agree, but maybe with a bit more confidence.
Yeah, it feels a bit more active than just okay.
Like, let's meet at 6. Bet. It's casual, means you're in, you're good for it.
It does have that vibe, yeah. Like you can count on it or deal. But
Yeah.
again, probably not for signing a business contract, right?
Definitely not. And for saying no casually, there's, nah, I'm good.
Oh, yeah? Hear that all the time?
Want more pizza? Nah, I'm good.
Well,
Much less formal than no thank you, often used when you're offered something.
very relaxed refusal. No big explanation needed. Perfect for casual hangs.
Okay, switching gears again. How about slang for describing people? First, GOAT. That's G-O-8-T.
Ah, yes, the GOAT debate.
Stands for greatest of all time. Messi is the GOAT of soccer. It's like the highest praise, the absolute best.
And acronyms like that are so common online, then they just seep into spoken language. How many arguments are about who the GOAT is in sports, music, whatever? It's huge.
Totally. Then savage. Describes someone bold, who doesn't hold back, doesn't care what people think.
Right.
She called out her boss in front of everyone. Savage. It implies some serious nerve.
There's often a mix of admiration and maybe a bit of shock there, isn't there? Like, wow, they really did that. It suggests breaking norms, challenging things. You see savage a lot in reaction comments online.
Definitely. Okay, clout. Refers to popularity or influence, especially online influence.
Mm-hmm.
He only does crazy stunts for clout. Sometimes implies it's just for attention, maybe not genuine.
Yeah, it really taps into that whole social media influencer culture. Clout chasing is a whole thing now, that drive for recognition online.
Then there's basic. Describes someone who just follows mainstream trends, maybe without much originality.
A bit dismissive sometimes.
Yeah, like pumpkin spice lattes, so basic, often used kind of teasingly.
It points to that idea of conformity, maybe lacking individuality. Interesting how these labels work socially.
And last one for people. Extra. Means over-the-top dramatic.
Oh, yeah, being extra.
Wearing a full suit to a casual dinner, that's extra. It just highlights behavior that seems, well, excessive for the situation.
Yeah, going way beyond what's needed or expected can be critical, can be funny, depends on the tone.
Phew. Okay, nearly there. Let's hit some slang for everyday situations. Hang out. Total classic. Just means spend casual time with friends.
That's standard, right?
Do you want to hang out later? It's the go-to for making chill plans.
Implies relaxation, no specific agenda, just being together.
Low-key means kind of, or secretly, or slightly.
Subtle.
I'm low-key tired, but I'll still go out. It's like you feel it, but you're not making a big announcement. Understated.
Suggests something you're not fully expressing, maybe holding back a bit, hinting at it.
And the opposite is high-key. Means very much definitely openly.
Right, no subtlety there.
I high-key need a vacation. Like you really mean it. No understatement.
Totally emphasizes the intensity. You're putting it out there loud and clear.
Squad. Your close group of friends. Your crew.
Your people.
Going out with the squad tonight gives that feeling of belonging, right? Your inner circle.
Definitely fosters that sense of camaraderie. Your team.
And finally, throw shade. Means to insult someone indirectly. Subtly.
Ah, the shade.
Did you hear her comment? She was totally throwing shade at you. It's not a direct attack, it's sly.
The image of shade is perfect, isn't it? Something subtle, maybe a bit dark, a veiled criticism. You might not catch it right away, but it feels off.
Exactly. Okay, so that's a ton of slang terms. Now the big question, how do you actually use them naturally? Without sounding, forced or getting it wrong.
That's the tricky part.
Our source had some solid tips. Number 1, super important. Listen first.
Yes. Crucial.
Pay attention to how native speakers use this stuff. Movies, TV, social media, real conversations. Just absorb it. Observe.
It really underlines that language learning isn't just memorizing lists. It's about context, tone, how words actually land in real life. Observational learning is key.
Totally. And that leads right to tip 2, Know when to use it. We kind of hammered this earlier, but it's vital. Slang is for casual chats with friends.
Not the board meeting.
Definitely not the board meeting. Or, meeting your partner's very formal grandparents for the first time.
Right. Know your audience, know the situation. Using slang badly can really backfire, undermine what you're trying to say.
Tip 3, don't overdo it.
Please don't.
Yeah, trying to cram slang into every sentence, it just sounds unnatural even to native speakers. Find a balance. Mix it in with standard English.
Think of it like spice in cooking,
Yeah.
right? A little bit adds flavor, too much ruins the dish. Use it sparingly, intentionally.
Good one. Tip 4, practice with friends. If you have English-speaking friends who are cool with it, try using some slang, see how it feels, get their feedback. Low-stakes practice.
That active use is so important for making it stick. And friends will usually let you know, gently hopefully, if something sounds a bit off. It's invaluable feedback.
And the last tip from the source, stay updated.
Because it changes so fast.
Exactly. Slang is always evolving. What's cool today might be cringe tomorrow. So
Yeah.
keep learning, keep listening. Social media, pop culture, younger folks, they're often where the new stuff starts.
It really shows how alive language is. It's not static. You've got to keep adapting, keep learning. It's a moving target.
So to wrap it all up, we've done a pretty deep dive into slang, all based on that script you sent. We looked at what it is, why it's useful, but also the pitfalls, right?
The do's and don'ts.
We covered a bunch of examples, emotions, agreeing, people, everyday stuff, and importantly, those tips for using it naturally.
And understanding these nuances, it really does boost your comprehension of informal English, but also helps you connect better. You know, understand those unwritten rules of just chatting.
Definitely. And that brings us to our final thought for you to kind of mull over. Thinking about how fast language changes, especially slang. What words or phrases that are common now do you think future generations will find totally hilarious or outdated, like groovy is for us?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
Makes you think about how language really captures a specific moment, doesn't it? A snapshot of culture.
It's a fascinating thought experiment. Language really is like a living record of who we are and who we were. What's cutting edge now could easily be a linguistic fossil down the line.
Well, we really hope this deep dive cleared things up and maybe gave you a bit more confidence navigating the sometimes wild world of informal English.
Yeah, hope it was helpful.
Thanks so much for tuning in.